you check the children? Show a little match sometimes.
Hi, I'm Chucky. Wanna play?
Sometimes that is better.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the horror show. I'm Cecil, Laird.
Robert Duell.
Fuego here.
Doing another brand new October Shudder release. We're not going to cover everything that released in Shudder this October, but we are going to cover this and the one we just finished reviewing. We just finished the Cleansing Hour. Now we're here to talk about the Mortuary Collection, which is another new horror anthology. We've been covering a lot of horror anthologies this month. We're going to talk about another one in our wrap-up when we talk about Tales from the Hood 3. But although, I don't know, maybe that's a video worth doing on its own just because of the name and it's in and of itself. We'll see. But this one was a surprise. I think this one dropped on Shudder, and I started seeing people say, Mortuary Collection was dope. Mortuary Collection was really good. And I was like, okay, that's going to pump me up a little bit. So I threw it on, like day 2 it was out. And I watched it, and I sent into our thing. I was like, guys, Mortuary Collection is actually really good. So the Crypt Keeper for this movie is played by Clancy Brown, and he plays the Mortician, and he is excellent. Yeah. Like, as far as wraparound storytellers go, he is excellent, which unfortunately made the end of the movie a little bit piss me offy, but I did indeed very much enjoy this movie. I thought the short films within were well done. Some were definitely stronger than others, but I think, quite frankly, the wraparound is what sold me more on this one, because they kept going back to it. They spent more time on the wraparound for this anthology than I think they normally do, except for maybe Scare Package, where the entire last third was wraparound story.
Love Scare Package.
But yeah, as far as anthologies go, I dug the hell out of this one.
I am right there with you, and I'm always a fan of basically anything Clancy Brown does. You know, gotta love my Kurgan.
He also executive produced or something, so he was behind the scenes.
I believe so. Yeah,
so.
But no, this was a nice, another fun anthology, and like we were saying, like we've had a lot of anthologies of horror come out this year, and most of them actually been pretty solid. But yeah, like most of the stories or the short films we'll call them in this were pretty solid. There were a couple that fell a little flat and everything. But I found myself more so pretty grossed out, disgusted, and I found a lot of humor in some probably scenes that I probably shouldn't have been laughing at. But, you know, that's just me. Fuego?
Yeah, it was a great looking movie. Everybody is trying to kind of be the next Trick or Treat, and that's been the case for about a decade now. I'm not going to say this challenges per se, but it really had its own stylistic aspect. I like the fact that it was a period piece. You know, I think it took place in the 50s, if I'm not mistaken. Because like a lot of from the cars they're driving around, especially in the babysitter sequence. You know, but
I didn't put that together.
I didn't either.
Yeah, but the first segment was really the first segment, the first segment was really the only one that I didn't like. It's the shortest of all the segments, and it's about this woman like stealing from people at a party. But everything else, all of the other ones,
that.
Did you?
With the creature ending, I thought that was cool.
I thought the creature looked really bad. We'll get to that.
Right,
but
fair enough.
Yeah. But all of the other stories, they ranged from like tragic and sad, like about this guy who's taking care of his wife, to the one about the slimy guy on campus and all that other stuff.
Frat douche.
Yeah, and
definitely gets what he deserves.
And the wraparound was great, and just the lighting in the mortuary and everything. I mean, everything. This felt probably like a bigger budget than it actually was. So props to everybody behind this, because I really dug it.
Yeah, story-wise, I mean, it's an anthology. So the wraparound is Clancy Brown plays a mortician at a mortuary, and a young girl shows up that is intended to be the new employee. Although he didn't know she was coming, he's welcoming of it and is like, okay, I can always use the help, kind of thing. And so the wraparounds are him kind of showing her around while she prods him for more stories, and eventually she tells a story. And that kind of is how everything sort of ends up wrapping up by the end. And I just think it was a really cleverly laid out anthology. I mean, there's a lot of anthologies that can really ace the structure, obviously Trick or Treat. There's some that struggle with the structure but ultimately succeed, which I think Books of Blood was one of those. Struggled with the structure, but ultimately succeeded.
Yeah.
And then there's some that just fail completely with their structure, which
We won't name any names,
we
but-
don't need to go there. But this was one that was really successful with its structure. I really dug it.
I will definitely agree, and especially on like the story wise of even just our individual stories. Yeah, like there were some like I felt so bad for these characters. I think it was the third one.
The one with the guy and the wife.
Yes,
That one, that's a
that
heartbreaking
one. Yeah, that is a very heartbreaking episode because that's really the sad thing is that you don't know on that situation. It's like what you would do, and like just for the person that you love, is you're taking care of them for your entire life. But no, other than that, like I really most of these stories, I would say, yeah, they held their own very well, especially on that wraparound. That last wraparound story, honestly, there was a couple twists that got me pretty good that I wasn't expecting, and I really enjoyed it. That very ending, I will kind of be with Cecil on that. I was a little salty, but whatever, you
Passing
know.
of the torch sort of situation.
In a sense, yeah. But that's basically, I'm gonna go for it, Fuego.
Yeah, man. Second and third installments were my personal favorites. Second one about the slimy guy on campus who, you know, he hooks up with this girl and he gets far more than he bargained for when he doesn't wear a condo.
It's a hell of an
And-
STD.
Indeed. Where's it gonna come out? From the same place it got in, and you're just like, oh my god!
Dude, that scene, literally, I have it on the laptop. I'm watching on the bedroom and everything, and just I'm literally curled up like this,
Yeah.
just
Yeah. There's
I was
probably
wincing, man.
Probably a rare man that doesn't cross his legs while watching
Oh.
that segment.
But then to go from such a stark contrast in the next installment with the guy and his ailing wife, and that one veered into like darkly comedic bits, only a little sprinkling of spots. For the rest of it, it was just, excuse me, tragic and sad, man. You know, it's choking me up thinking about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, and these guys have touched upon the wraparound. Obviously, it ties things together intriguingly, and just the story incorporation. It's more than just a wraparound, kind of like what Scare Package did, and I dug that.
So yeah, as far as technical aspects go, again, this was a very well presented movie. It was cinematography; it was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was a really, really well presented movie. It was engaging to watch as a result, and the production value of the actual mortuary was great. The production value of the stories themselves, I feel like some kind of were like they didn't have quite as much money as the others, obviously, but ultimately, the production value and the execution of the technicalities of this movie were really well done to me.
I'll definitely agree. Especially my biggest highlight was the actual interior of a mortuary. Those lighting scenes and how everything that was set up, looked beautiful. One scene though, I would say out of was it the third with the man and wife, I believe, right? There was an elevator scene.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. Oh, I'm
That
sorry.
one felt pretty low budget.
Really?
To me, but go ahead.
Okay. Well, whatever.
I didn't like the look after a kind of transformation happens. I thought.
Well, that didn't make any sense.
Really silly.
That didn't make any sense. But the whole anti-gravity aspect during that scene.
Oh, yeah.
I thought that looked great. You
Oh,
can't
so
say
that
that
part
looked
was
bad.
okay. No, that
You
part
can't
was
say it looked bad. But the final ending of that scene
the descent.
looked kind of bad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and all the blood and just the craziness of the situation, the way it's all set up, and even the dinner table bit with what happens.
That's the part where I laughed at and I felt bad.
Yeah.
Especially with the redrop. I'm just like, oh god.
Yeah, and also like the fight sequence in the final segment with the babysitter, like
That was cool.
It gets graphic at times.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh my god.
But that was that nice twist. I'm just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So effects-wise, they leaned into it. I mean, there was a ton of gore at times, just blood everywhere at times, severed limbs at times, decayed, rotting corpses at times. Like the effects were all on point. Like I don't have
Rabbit through the face.
anything bad to say. Like yeah, I dug the hell out of the effects for this one.
Yeah, no, most definitely, and really, yeah, not too much to really to retouch on, but the effects were solid as hell for what we got. And again, it was one of those nice little things of I didn't really feel it was too overly CG'd. Like it was nice, just little enhancements. So that's one thing I can definitely appreciate when you have more practical effects versus your CG.
I'll still be a stickler about that first segment with the tentacles, but I mean, aside from that, there's really no others that I would.
Even that didn't look too bad.
Yeah,
I
mind it
didn't.
either.
I didn't like it, but
They
that's
didn't. They did look more fake than a lot of the other stuff we saw, but it was such a cool, easy, sweet, short story.
very short. Yeah.
And then and a nice little simple lesson.
Yeah.
Don't stick your nose where it doesn't belong.
Yeah,
which the girl gets even a little meta with Clancy Brown's character about. She's like, oh, this is just always the twist of the comeuppance and everything,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. And then it's interesting in the last segment where she's talking about no, because sometimes the evil people do win and all that other stuff. I thought that was a cool little means of looking at it, because that does often happen in horror films. She's right.
So yeah, I think that's going to do it for our review of the Mortuary Collection. Again, it's available on Shudder, you guys. It's a really interesting, entertaining anthology. Definitely worth your time. Let us know if you have seen it, what your thoughts are in those comments down below. While you're down there, feel free to click the link to our Patreon. That way you can tell us movies to... Did I say clink the link? I think I did.
Clink the link!
Is that why you... Okay. So I heard the
Smash
snicker.
that like!
I was like, did I mess up? And then I heard the snicker. I was like, oh yeah, I messed up. I better address it. But
Every
yeah.
time you make a Snicker, you make a Snickers.
So yeah,
Now I kinda wanna eat
feel
a
free to
Snickers.
join up if you want to tell us any movies to review, do commentaries for, all that good stuff. But until next time, I've been Cecil Laird.
I've been Trail Luaus.
And gracias, I'm still Fuego.
And remember,
Stay scared.
there can be only one.